Good morning, everybody. It's community update number 6, otherwise known as the signal update. This was the big update that we've been waiting for the past week now. Rejects. In today's community update, we'll discuss our first significant content drop for Darktide. Due to a technical issue we found when testing one of our weapons, we're targeting this update to arrive tomorrow, December 15th. We've been reading your comments on Steam, the Fat Shark forums, and Reddit, and acknowledge your request for more communication, transparency, and where we're at. Since launch, we have released a decent amount of updates and improved stability for many players, but we still recognize the need for more clarity in certain areas. Today's community update will focus on what this drop, and with it, patch 10.0.20 will contain, as well as give insight into some of the key areas we're addressing. For future community updates, we aim to cover specific topics of concern that you all have brought to us to communicate how we intend to move forward with those areas of feedback. First and foremost, we prioritize stability so you can all play the game uninterrupted. We've identified several critical issues and are working on fixing them to get there. We want to give you a look at what those priorities look like from our end. This is a partial list of every stability issue we are investigating, focusing on the most critical and frequent issues we have found. So we are actively investigating GPU-related crashes. This is our #1 priority in tracking down and fixing, and we continue to investigate this issue further with multiple teams in the studio. We aim to push fixes for this issue every patch. This upcoming patch should contain some fixes for these crashes, though we continue to monitor any further causes that could relate to this issue. Penances are not updated when users disconnect or crash during missions. We are investigating this, though it may involve a more significant overall fix on how we track and record player penances in-game. Players are receiving error codes 4008 and 2007. We are still investigating what causes players to meet a 4008 during gameplay, but we've begun to deploy some fixes to help players avoid meeting error code 2007 in previous patches. Problems with Twitch drops and account connectivity with Twitch drops. We are still investigating this issue, and our backend team is currently looking into possible causes. Players reporting that no rewards or progression are given after a mission completion. This would be XP and credits. This issue is possibly related to contracts not progressing, though is pending a solve as we keep digging into further potential causes. Currently fixing, contracts do not progress for some players. We sifted through player-provided logs to help pinpoint this issue and found the root cause. The team is at work to implement fixes with the next update. Various penances work differently than expected. We made steps towards fixing this in patch 1.0.20 with the pick and mix penances, but it may require further fixes due to a number of penances in the game. Server crashes kicking players with error code 2001. We've identified the cause of this issue and are currently working on solves. Stuck in queue position 1. While we are actively monitoring this issue, we've noticed players continuing to get stuck in queue position 1. Our networking team is currently working on a solution to help players restart the queue should they find themselves stuck. So the Commodore's Vestures. In patch 1.0.14, we removed the timer from the Commodore's Vestures where the player could purchase premium cosmetics via Aquila packs. Our plan for the shop is to give players more time between rotation periods until we reach 3 screens worth of cosmetic bundles. The timer will remain inactive until the first page is due to be rotated out with 24 hours remaining. It's important to note that the store is on rotation to give players some variety while at the same time not creating clutter. We feel that unlimited store pages are likely to create confusion and a bad user experience. Rest assured, the cosmetics are not gone forever and will likely reappear. This is going to be quite the hill to defend on Fat Shark's end, but we'll see how this goes. So for the content drop itself, otherwise known as the signal, this drop introduces a new map, 2 new weapons, one for the Zealot and one for the Ogren, the new refine option in the crafting menu, the inclusion of private games, and the addition of a new condition. In Complex 154/2F, it is up to you and your strike team to gain access to Complex. Get to the roof of the HL-19-24 Archivum and transmit a message to your allies in the Imperium. There are 2 new weapons, the Indignatus Mach 4E Crusher, a 2-handed power maul for Zealots, and the Ackless Mach 1 Power Maul, a 1-handed power maul for Ogrens. Private play is now available when starting a mission from the mission board for strike teams of 2 to 4 players. And Refine is now available in the Shrine of the Omnissiah. You can now choose to refine a single perk, which will lock other perks. Perks in the item card will show their tier through the number of diamonds next to the perk ranging from 1 to 4. Each refine action taken on the perk will see a cost reduction for resources. There's a new condition, Hunting Grounds. Rejects will have to fend off increased number of poxhounds. Okay, so this is patch notes for 1.0.20. There were a few things that were either miscommunicated and they had to correct on it. So we'll get to those as we get to them. Known issues. On the Microsoft Store/Game Pass release, prices for Aquilas are presented as question marks in the Commodore's vectors. However, the prices themselves are shown prior to purchase via the Microsoft interface. General/quality of life. The chat window is now accessible on all loading screens and during the outro cinematic after a mission. You will also have access to a Strike Team chat channel in the Morningstar if you invite someone to your Strike Team while in the Morningstar. The option to merge Strike Teams during the end of round screen has been temporarily removed while we improve this functionality. We added 2400 Aquila packs so cosmetic bundles can be purchased at face value. For performance and stability, we fixed several cases that could generate GPU crashes. Fixed a bug where clients would get mismatched player loadouts from the server, which could cause a bunch of different crashes. We fixed a bug with fired projectile virtual effects, crashing the game when the player leaves the game. Fixed an issue that could cause a client crash when using weapons while under the influence of various attack speed or reload speed buffs. Fixed various and numerous unspecified crashes. For contracts and penances, isolated and resolved a rare issue that could cause contract progression during mission to be lost when the mission completes at the end of the round. An issue was detected in the penance pick and mix where it could, in some circumstances, not be awarded as expected. And for localization, new localizations have been added for several UI texts. And for weapons. We have a note for the RSD's Mach 4 Assault Chain Axe. Apparently this was redacted. We fixed an issue in the Psychonium where equipping weapons would sometimes disable weapon perks and blessings. Ogren ranged weapons with special melee attacks should now change crosshair when using their special attacks. Fixed an issue where players would stay in ADS while using the bayonet with Lucius pattern lasguns. Fixed an issue where players would stay in ADS while using special attack with the Akatran MG Mach 2 Heavy Las Pistol and the Zerona Mach 2A Quick Draw Stub Revolver. Fixed an issue where the Psyker could not use the Akatran MG Mach 2 Heavy Las Pistol weapon special while switching weapons. It should now be possible to cancel a reload by using the weapon special on the Zerona Mach 2A Quick Draw Stub Revolver. Autogun should now more reliably interrupt other actions when performing a weapon special attack. Fixed a bug where weapon stagger in the control/collateral stat didn't work as intended on weapons like the Ripper gun. Fixed an issue where players could use the special attack whilst ADSing with the Akatran MG Mach 2 Heavy Las Pistol and the Zerona Mach 2A Quick Draw Stub Revolver. Fixed a bug where Flamer and Purgatus staff secondary attacks would not damage enemies if the attack was too short. Fixed a bug where special attack follow-up damage on the Katakan Mach 3 combat blade did not scale with the damage stats. Fixed a bug where the Ripper gun's reload can be interrupted such that you can't fire it without a magazine. Fixed a bug where overheat only dissipated when having a weapon wielded. Tweaked the Lock 2B Spearhead Bolt Gun. Added equip variations and reworked the original equip to make the equip animations less repetitive and frustrating. Fixed issues when snapping after unaiming while shooting. Fixed exploits with weapon swapping at the right time would result in a much faster reload. Tweaked the Munitorum Mach 3 Power Sword. We tuned down the cleave on the powered attacks from infinite to simply very big cleave, so 8.5 to 12.5 cleave range, so around 10 enemies. Added damage falloff for targets beyond the third on heavy activated sweep, scales from 130 to 260 at targets 1, 2, and 3, downwards to 50 to 100 at target 8+. We tweaked the Lucius pattern lasguns, tuned the charging virtual effects to unblock view of shot, pushed the ADS FOV to 65 to clean up the sight a bit, increased time until 4 shot across all marks from 1 to 2.5 extra seconds after full charge, decreased ammo consumption on fully charged shot, so the Mach 1 from 9 to 6, the Mach 2 from 6 to 4, and the Mach 3 from 12 to 9. Reduced charge time ranges until fully charged. The Mach 1 1.0 to 0.5 down to 0.8 to 0.4. The Mach 2 0.7 to 0.35 down to 0.65 to 0.25. and the Mach 3 1.25 to 0.65 to 1 second to 0.5. Reduce chain time for the Mach 3 bayonet slash from 0.5 to 0.3 like a normal melee sweep. Increase the damage versus armored and resistance on low charge slash near slash far from 40% to 50% to 50% to 60%. Increase minimum charge scalar for Mach 2 charge shot from 30% power to 40% power. Reduce suppression sway. Reduce baseline sway. Tweak the M35 Magna Core Mach 2 plasma gun. Increase clip size range from 75 to 150, from 60 to 100, still one clip in reserve with matching adjustment. Improve vent durations, both active venting is now 3 seconds, down from 4 seconds, and passive venting now 15 seconds, down from 20 seconds. Adjusted vent speed curves over thresholds and lowered the high threshold to 60%, down from 70%. Time scales of venting are now low, 80% to high 50% and critical 25%. Was 50% to 100% and 25. Retune vent damage to a player, it should now be in the same ballpark but scale more aggressively so slower overcharge gives less damage. Allow heavy charge shots to continue after shooting through geometry, entry and exit, and both create explosions. Tweak the Zorona Mach 2 a quick draw stub revolver, increased ammo reserve from 25 to 40 to 35 to 70. Increase far range from 23 to 35. Increase high end of base damage range to 200 to 400, was 200 to 350. Increased hit scan range to fix issues where no hits would be detected at very long ranges. Tweak the Vrax Mach 3 and Mach 7 and Agrippina Mach 8 Headhunter autoguns. Reduced recoil vertical rise on all Headhunter autoguns. Increase the damage. For the Mach 3, it is 70 to 140 to 80 to 160. For the Mach 7, it is 80 to 160 to 100 to 200. And for the Mach 8, 75 to 150 to 90 to 180. We also tweaked the Trutolsky Mach 6, the Mach 7, and the Mach 9 heavy swords. Increased baseline damage armor mod versus flak armor from 30 to 50%. And infested from 75 to 100% on light attacks. Increased baseline impact armor mod versus flak armor from 50% to 75%, and maniacs from 50% to 75%, and carapace armor from 50 to 75% on light attacks. Increase the horizontal light attack damage from 25 to 50 to 35 to 70, adjusted target to follow match. Increase the diagonal light attack damage from 35 to 70 to 40 to 80. Adjusted target follow to match. For the Cruises Mach 2 Thunderhammer, increase light attack baseline armor mod versus flak armor from 75 to 90 and carapace armor from 1% to 25%. Increased heavy attack baseline armor mod versus flak armor from 75% to 90% and carapace armor from 20% to 25%. Fixed a bug where the Thunderhammer was missing a weapon special activate chain from block. Fixed an issue where Lucius pattern lasguns were ignoring shoot input after getting stunned in ADS. Fixed a bug where you couldn't initiate weapon special from the push action, fixed for all heavy swords and tactical axes. Fixed a bug where animation was snapping when unaiming right after shooting on lasguns and shotguns. Fixed a bug with the Kurok Mach 5 twin-linked heavy stubber where primary fire didn't buffer properly when wielded, leaving braced and sliding, etc. For combat, fix an issue where Zealot Preacher ability Chastise the Wicked could get interrupted if used while being pushed by enemy attacks. Fixed an issue where Psykinetics Inner Tranquility talent caused slower quell speeds. Fixed a bug where being hit while looking disabled coherency toughness regen for 100 seconds or until hit again. Improved precision and smart targeting. Fixed a bug where you couldn't perform heavy attacks while the Obscurus Mach 2 Blaze Force Sword whilst holding sprint. Made sure all attacks and start actions can be used with sprint. Fixed issue where Zealot Preacher would dash through enemies if they were too close. Fixed issue where some pickups could not be interacted with due to being inside collision. For enemies, fixed issues where the Poxhound could launch into the stratosphere. Fixed some Traitor Guard helmets armors which depicted 4 instead of 6. Missions, we moved the spawn point of the demon host from spawn location in the Power Matrix mission. Fix some diamantine that couldn't be picked up in the Excise Vault Spire Side 13. Fixed an area where players could leave the play area in Enclavum Barros. Fixed a spot on Enclavum Barros where players could stand and be out of reach from melee heretics. I think I know exactly what spot they were talking about. Fixed an issue where a horde could spawn next to the players in the end event in the Consignment Yard HL 17-36 mission. Fixed a spot where players could get stuck in HL 17-36 Smelter Complex. Fixed a bug where enemy units were spawning in plain sight of the Consignment Yard in HL 17-36 end event. Fixed an issue where players could enter a softlock state in the prologue. Fixed an issue where the Valkyrie would arrive slightly during the end event in the Enclavum Barros. Fixed a scripture that couldn't be picked up in the Refinery Delta-17. Fixed an issue where monstrosities could not reach the players in Refinery Delta-17. Fixed a softlock that can occur on levels with airlock should a player join a mission whilst the airlock is closing. Fixed a spot on Enclavum Barros where enemies could walk through walls. Fixed a spot on HL 17-36 Smelter Complex where players could respawn behind a drop-down, rendering them unrescuable. Fixed an issue where players joining midway through HL 16-11 Chasm Station could spawn behind a now-closed door. Fixed an issue where one of the grimoires could not be collected on Chasm Logistratum. Fixed an issue where one of the grimoires could not be collected on the HL 17-36 Smelter Complex. Fixed a railing on HL 17-36 Consignment Yard that was missing collision. You can now reach the Penance menu by interacting with the newly added interaction spot in the hub. Fixed a bug in the Psychonium where unequipping a weapon with a trait/perk makes the other equipped weapon's trait/perk not work. Fixed a spot where players could get stuck on HL 17-36 Power Matrix. Fixed an area where players could be thrown into an inaccessible area by a mutant on HL 17-36 Smelter Complex. Tweaked timing and added a few elites to the end event in the Enclavum Barros mission. Fix an NPC shooting without a gun on the prologue. For sound effects, virtual effects / animation, the Auspex scan target should no longer remain outlined after completing a scan. Fix an issue where the animation didn't match the duration of stun when hitting a target with the Thunderhammer special ability. We tightened up animations for the Lock 2B Spearhead bolt gun when aiming after sprinting. Ogren feet should no longer clip through the floor of the Morningstar. Fix some animation issues of the Ripper gun special attack. Ragdolls created by the Blastoom Mach 3 Grenadier Gauntlet should feel more satisfying now. Fixed a bug where the wrong virtual effects was being used for torso gibs. The 4-sword weapon special now creates a larger visual blast on damaging and killing heretics. Fix various sound issues on various missions, certain happenings not having sounds, audio imbalances, early cutoffs, missing music, etc. Fix cases where dodge sounds were not reliably played for other players or bots. Fixed excessive camera shake when cleaving through enemies on specific attacks on Tactical Axes, Power Sword, and the Eviscerator. The Nominous Mach 6 Surge Force staff has had its virtual effects buffed to feel more impactful. Fixed a bug where wrong start animation was used on the second right start on the Mach 9 Heavy Sword, now it matches the horizontal right attack. Fixed a bug where sound proximity was based on average position instead of the local player's position, so enemy units were not making any sound. For character customization, fixed various issues with cosmetics, clipping, etc. Resolved an issue where selecting blind eye options would remove the information about the Cadia homeworld restriction during the character creation screens. Resolved an issue where the Psyker convict upper body garb for the crime of mismatched faith may disappear for the inventory view. It was never removed from your inventory, but may have appeared to no longer be present. Resolved an issue where restrictions on items would disappear when viewing an item in the Commodore's Vestures. Fixed an issue with an Ogren mustache that only appeared during cutscenes or when observed within kissing distance. Note, do not kiss the Ogren. For the UI/UX, added texture quality settings back to the menu. Added mesh quality/LOD distance slider to the menu. Fixed a bug with the control stat not affecting stagger duration on the Ripper gun. Crosshairs are now consistent across weapon families. Fixed an issue where the outline of one of the Auspex scan targets in the Hab Draco mission. Several UI and UX adjustments have been made surrounding the weapon cards, including a hover item inspect in the inventory loadouts, as well as now showing the item level for curios in the loadout and its detail card. Now displaying the cosmetic weapon skin and clothes as owned when viewing them in the Armory Exchange. The Ossuary Charm weapon trinket has been flipped so it can be seen in the trinket preview within the weapon customization panel. Weapon traits that require multiple hits now have clearer descriptions. You can no longer discard multiple items by holding down the discard key action. Fix the situation where the taskbar could still appear when switching to borderless window. And finally, the engine. Multiple fixes to prevent GPU hangs. Fixes to address network disconnects. Ray tracing now works on AMD RX 6/7000 series cards. Visual glitches around weapons and in levels for users of AMD cards have been fixed. And fixed a crash that sometimes happens to players after watching a video cutscene.